PowerPoint on this, Garrett Winery?
We actually, found out through a booklet that, this is a fairly common photograph here for the Garrett Winery. And this is actually located, if you go all down the end of First Street, where the Ponderosa campground is, you go across the aqueduct, this is on the other side of the aqueduct, or there where the Ponderosa campground is. Now, this picture here is fairly common. There's another one I'll show you in a few minutes that is more rare. And if you look at the top of it, it looks like a watchtower. Down in the bottom part of the top area there is actually a water tank for firefighting purposes.
Can everybody see?
But to show you how detailed the picture is that we got from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, this is the first one, and then switch to the second one. That's how detailed you can actually zoom in and pick out the individual workers sitting on the porch.
Yeah, can I ask something? And anybody, while we're going, if you got any questions, do you know anything about when that building was torn down? You weren't here then, but have you ever heard, and nobody's ever heard anything then, when it was actually, you know, when it was torn down? Because now, see, well, before you came in, we were talking about her aunt, you know, Jane's aunt and uncle lived there. In the house, the original Garrett house, but she doesn't recall this picture, and that was in what, 19?
Well, I was like 12, 14 years old.
And what year was that?
Well, subtracted from 91.
Okay. But I mean, really, that was it when the late 1800s is when the Garrett Winery was?
I think that's,
1890
the
it said,
building
didn't it?
was actually, I think, when they changed it over to another, company, the building was there, I think, as far as, 1915, 1920, somewhere around there. But anyway, just to go to show you, that's how detailed that photograph was. We got a digital copy of, and there's several different photographs we're also in the process of trying to get, and then you go to the next one. All right, now this is the rare one. If you look there real close on either side,
Back.
that's the aqueduct.
This right here is the aqueduct.
If you go down into Chalkyard Creek, that's the aqueduct right there. If you look on the right-hand side, the vegetation is a little bit over the wall, and that's the Garrett Winery in the background. So they kind of, and that's actually, the First Street is behind the photographer. And if you go to the next one, I took them zoomed in, we did a close-up. This is the same photograph, and I had to darken it a little bit, but you can actually see the little board running across the side wall of the aqueduct.
Yeah, I guess you don't, there's the, is that the wall there and the board you're talking about? Wow.
And they actually floated barges through that from downtown Weldon all the way up to Roanoke Rapids to get around the falls to take commerce on that river.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, you're saying that this actually goes around in front of that building as it goes down? Or either way, it
I
goes
think
even in
curves
front
to
of
the
it?
right,
Turns this way like this? Okay.
because we couldn't figure out where the actual building was located at. I'll show you later on. I got a Google aerial map. Now here's the aerial map. If you look at the little white dot in the right-hand corner, you can see the aqueduct going across.
That, right here?
I'll come down with it. So there's the aqueduct
Right there.
So if you look,
Now, you know what we're talking about when we say aqueduct?
the head Chalkyard Creek, where the
we'll
canal
have to-
trail is, the
Oh,
old brick bridge, and it's
The
a
stone- right
stone
there.
bridge.
Look on the wall, correct, on,
So that's a
Florence.
painting of it.
Oh, okay.
that's the aqueduct.
Okay.
And
New name for it.
we can, you can see what that little white dot is. That's where the photographer was standing at, and he took a picture back. So right on there where that little white
Are you going
area.
up here?
Yeah, look up at the top. Right there. That's where the photographer was standing at when the picture was taken before. All the building and stuff there on the left, that's the sewage treatment plant
Right here.
behind Howell Steel.
So we're on this side,
Right.
right? This is the Roanoke Rapids Sewer,
Right.
so we're over here.
And you can see the little white line there
And
going.
that's the canal coming down like that, right?
That's Chalkyard Creek.
I mean, the Chuck Creek. Yeah.
And the aqueduct's to pass water over water.
Right, I was meant to say the creek.
And if you look at the little white line there, that's the actual canal trail.
This,
And see right along there is where that little building, little stand is, where you can go down to the end of,
oh, behind Ponderosa?
the Ponderosa, where it has a little detailed information. It's a little stand there, and that's part of the walking trail. And then this is, I think it's 1897. This is, gives you an actual blueprint. This is from the Sanborn Fire Insurance Maps. It shows how the building was built. If you see that little round circle in the middle there, that's the tower.
Right here. Tank,
Tank mounted on the bastion on top of the building. And what the Sanborn fire insurance maps were, Sanborn insured different buildings for fire insurance. They had to document everything. And some of these maps go back as far as like 1870s. And this 1870, and this here, it gives you, like for instance, it says 3 men sleep in the building year round. There's heat and power there, there's by steam. The fuel is wood and sawdust. The lights are kerosene, oil, with 2-inch fire hose, I think, supplied from a 1,000-gallon water tank on top of the building. There's another 5,000-gallon tank west of the building. And this is 1904. If you notice the public road at the top there, that actually is not coming from the aqueduct. There was a road right beside the aqueduct where people would go across it. The aqueduct, like I said, was mainly to ship barges up and down the creek. And notice they're saying it's 2 miles west of the post office.
Now, you said this was called at one time the something wrong at Rapids Road, or what you call, is that the one, what was it called?
That's the road from Weldon to Rock Rapids.
Oh, that's a different one.
To get to Rock Rapids back in those days, you went, First Street was the main road in Weldon. And you went down First Street. Then that's 1909, I think, and it's still Garrett, and they actually had a railroad right beside that. And then if you go to the next one, by that time,
Excuse me.
Garrett had sold the building, and it's now Paper Products Company Incorporated. And City Canal at the top there, that's the aqueduct. The bottom there, the road says Rock Rapids Road. That's not actually the Rock Rapids Road now. That's the road coming from First Street going to Rock Rapids. And see the little wooden bridge there to the right. If you go down to the Chalkyard Creek and look on, if you only look south of the aqueduct, on either side of the creek, you can still see the pile of bricks on either side of the creek that's left over from that wooden bridge.
And this was saying is 7-8 miles of the train station from this was located right, not quite a mile from, you know, I guess it's one west
The
of
little
it.
arrow there is pointing where it's north at.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now, this is the Garrett wine bottle like she's got there. If you see it was brought to my attention, a real earlier wine bottle, Mr. Garrett, Paul Garrett, didn't consider himself to be in the town of Weldon to begin with. Since the creek ran along right beside of his business called Chalkyard Creek, he said he had on the bottles that was in Chalkyard, North Carolina. And it actually shows it on one of the little pamphlets that we got that the guy did a rubbing of a bottle, but instead of saying Weldon NC at the bottom, it says Chalkyard NC. That's the taller view of the same bottle. Now this,
Excuse me, I was gonna say, I thought about that, when that flood come up in here, there was, that flood come in here, I was, 8 years old.
The 1940 flood?
Boy, yeah, went over the bridge, and 301 used to come down by the post office and come in here and curl and go up First Street.
right.
Miss Kyle run the store up there, and he did. Now you know the store he used to have. He little store up there on First Street where school. You know, you go by the school. He was a great carpenter, and he was in carpentering, and he built a lot of them buildings in Halifax. And he'd come out of there. He got a driving license, and the speed on was just 40 miles an hour. And he thought he'd run 40. He come on Halifax, come on through town and made that turn. And they turned over on the train station.
What kind of car was you driving, T-Mobile?
T-Mobile Ford.
And this here is a poster that we got off of eBay advertising the Garrett Winery. And I think that one's saying the scuffing on great. But the wine that Garrett sold was not really a high potency wine. It was more like a dinner wine, so you drank with your food. But it was shipped all over the United States, all up and down the East Coast.
In Europe too?
Paul Garrett even had a schooner that would actually come up here and they're going up the river